Daily Banner, and we put Mark under protective custody and got him out of the way for a few minutes. And it's really a pleasure, and I don't think this has been done before, to have the three top law enforcement officers of Bradley County and Cleveland together. So Sheriff Eric Watson, Chief Mark Gibson, and 10th District Attorney General Steve Crump. And let's start with the events of a couple of weeks ago, Thursday, July 16th. And Chief Gibson, I want to start with you and sort of put us in your chair that day. Take me through how you got the call, what went through your mind, and how the dominoes fell that day for you.
Okay. Well, we had a fraternal order police meeting, and so we had just arrived to sit down and eat, and we were down the road from the mall, and I'd received a phone call earlier to kind of update me about incidents that were taking place in Chattanooga. We didn't have all the details, just a couple of incidents, just a few details about kind of what was going on there. We were informed that there was a shooting there, and it was focused on the recruiting center. And as we were having that conversation, we had what we call a felony tone, which is a high-pitched alert that lets all of our officers know something pretty significant is going on.
Right.
And so they dispatched us and just said that we had an active shooter at the mall, that they had reports of shots fired at the mall. So several of the officers there, including some sheriff's department deputies, we all just got up from the table, and really you don't think about it, you just respond. And I think that's when training kind of kicks in. You just respond. So being down the road, we were just some of the first groups of officers that arrived, and the information we were getting on the radio was several reports of shots fired, additional shots fired, rapid fire in the parking lot area of the mall. So for everybody's intensive purposes, we felt like it was real. Over the years of being a law enforcement officer, you kind of get the ability to gauge a call. Even though it sounds pretty bad on the radio, you kind of gauge the call based on what information you're getting, and sometimes it's a little a little more intense when you get there than you expected, but most of the time you're able to gauge it pretty well. But once we were pulled into the lot, you really didn't think about it. It was just I think training kicked in. Just waves of officers went to locations without being prompted. They got out, started responding to the scene without hesitation, and we just, at that point, you don't start thinking about it. You just respond, and training kicks in.
Yeah. Sheriff, tell me about how that day played out for you and your team.
A very sad day in Bradley County, and we was worried about so much that they would maybe come to the courthouses, the government buildings. And I want to start off and say, Mark, great job.
Appreciate that.
Great job. Our district attorney was on the phone with us within minutes after what can we do? It was a team effort, wasn't it, Steve?
Absolutely.
Totally a team effort. We were scared to death because we thought people had been killed in the Bradley Square Mall, because that's what our media to the south was told. And we wanted to lock down all of our government buildings. Of course, that's what we did. Right. We'd done the same thing to the schools if they was open. And I'm just thankful that it didn't come to Bradley County. We'd have been ready for it as far as the response. Right. I don't question that at all, because we have a great working relationship with the general as well as the Cleveland Police Department. But everybody was on task that day. Did a good job.
General, tell me about how that day fell for you.
Fortunately, in my job, it's a rare circumstance when you believe that you are in the role of a first responder. We don't put our lives on the line the way the people that work at the sheriff's department, the people that work at the police department do. That day was a little bit different, though, because at the beginning, all we knew was that there was at least one active shooter, and within about 3 minutes, my office was alerted that we had 3 active shooters within the region.
Wow.
One in Chattanooga, one at the mall in Cleveland. Then we also had reports of an active shooter at the recruiting station in Athens. As you might imagine, with 3 counties involved, Homeland Security and TBI are immediately alerted. And that day for me was a lot different than it was for these guys. These guys were on the scene trying to sort out what was happening, what was real, what wasn't real. My job was more conveying information between all those departments, making sure that McMinn County knew that Bradley County did not have an active shooter, that Bradley County knew that McMinn County did not have an active shooter, which is not, again, the traditional role of our office. However, like these guys said, you do whatever happens to you. When they arrived on the scene, my scene was in the office at that time. It was certainly, see, our offices are not secure. If somebody wants in our office, they can get in our office. I mean, it's not like many other government offices. We're locked, but if you've ever been to our office, you know there's an enormous amount of glass. And so I was certainly concerned when we believed for a very short period of time that it was a concerted or coordinated effort. I was very concerned for the employees. I was perfectly confident in law enforcement's ability to respond. I knew that both the sheriff and the chief would be able to handle that issue, but mine was more information. And then once we determined that there were not active shooters in any of my district, it was trying to calm people, trying to get people to understand that we were not affected in the way that Hamilton County was. They could go back to they could, come out from under the tables and come out from under the chairs and unlock the doors. And I spent 30 minutes at lunch going table to table telling people there is not an active shooter in Bradley County in the restaurant that I was in. So I think my day was a lot different than these guys, but we all, I think Sheriff Watson put it right. We each, whatever task was handed to us, whatever landed in our lap, I think we handled pretty well, and the team effort worked pretty well.
Yeah. Thinking about this event, and I think it's been phrased as domestic terrorism. How much of a priority has that been for police departments, sheriff departments, attorneys general? And because of what we've experienced here, even though it was a near miss, it was a near miss. I think we lost our innocence that day for sure. Has that priority to prepare for that gone up, or have you been ready for that, or is it possible to overcompensate for that experience? Sheriff?
This is something I said before September the 1st last year, that we was going to be prepared, get better prepared, better equipped, and that's exactly what we've done at the sheriff's office as well as the police department since September the 1st. Me and Mark had a meeting just a little over after September and discussed letting our SWAT teams work together, using our equipment that they didn't have, using their equipment that we didn't have, not having to buy stuff that they already have, combining our resources, because there's no sense in us having something, them buying something, the same thing, and when we could buy something else that would be beneficial in situations like this. And that's been 100% perfect. It's worked so far, so clean. No one fussing, no one not getting along. We've got along great. It's been awesome. And this is something I've probably invested $25,000 since September 1st just for needed equipment to handle situations on high-profile shooters. I'm not going to go into those details exactly we've got, but it's getting better. We just made another purchase this week on another piece of equipment that we need. And people, they laughed at this before September the 1st. I won't never forget this. I was at a town hall meeting, and I had 2-3 men in the back, and they kind of, that ain't going to happen in Bradley County. That's a waste of money. It's not a waste of money when it's your family, your life, and because these terrorists, there's anti-people that just hates law enforcement. It's a minority, exactly what I told the media the other day. They're anti-peacekeepers. If they're unhappy with Tennessee or the United States, move out of here. Go to another country. We don't want you here. And I'm very serious about that. And we're going to do everything we can to protect that great United States of America flag, those Marines, those innocent kids at schools, those people that makes almost minimum wage at the courthouse. We're going to do everything we can. Our officers are prepared to put their lives on the line if needed. And they make very little to make that happen. And I'm proud of them. I think we're, can you say, are we prepared for anything? Maybe not, because you never know what that terrorist is going to do. But I think we're pretty prepared for almost anything that will happen in Bradley County.
Chief, can you respond to that idea?
Well, I think like I said, we focused on training. That's one of the things I seen kick in that day. It didn't matter what law enforcement agency we were from, because we had the sheriff's department employees there. The sheriff came by. The drug task force was involved, and the drug task force is part of the district attorney's office. So that's key cooperation is showing that. And we had a representative from the district attorney's office present at the mall. All these things came together, but it was individual agencies training. We can implement that in almost any situation to be a formidable opponent for any kind of attack. I know the terms domestic terrorism or whatever. We don't care what you want to label them. Yeah. We're looking at, can we effectively engage that threat and be successful, and I think we can. Our SWAT team, our officers train yearly for active shooter events such as this or any kind of other threat. We have a very successful EOD team that trains with Chattanooga Police Department. Tennessee, I went to a school last year, and FBI was there teaching a portion and talking about our preparedness to respond to threats. And his information that he relayed to us is that Tennessee is number 5 in the nation for preparedness for events such as explosive events or dirty bombs or those types of terrorist attacks. We have 12 bomb teams across the state, and Tennessee or Cleveland, Tennessee is one of those, and we're prepared for those types of events. The sheriff's department and the district attorney's office, we all communicate, we all work together, and makes us prepared for any other event that takes place, no matter what it is, what it's labeled. And that's one of the things that I noticed. Like I said, when you respond, when we were pulling in the parking lot, he didn't care what agency it was. Mm-hmm. I had a sheriff's department. I had a sheriff's officer right behind me when I pulled into the parking lot. But the biggest thing is when they come out of the cars, they know exactly where to go, exactly what to do. We've got law enforcement's got some criticism over the last year about type of equipment and weapons that we have. It's important for our country to back our law enforcement, to give them the tools that they need, and let us have the responsibility of training them on the proper way to use those. And I don't care if you set them in there with a sling and 5 rocks; they would address the threat. But we want that tactical advantage, and our SWAT team members we have 5 members right now that are in Meridian, Mississippi, that are taking part of a training on high risk warrants and high risk planning, and that's something we've been doing for the last year to really enhance our team.
General, I know that you're constantly in touch with your colleagues, and especially in Nashville and the Attorneys General Conference. Where is this sort of situation on your radar, and that organization's radar? Is it is it an emphasis you hear, or is it just another one of those things you have to deal with?
Well, I think we all, statewide, I think we all are aware that any of us could be faced with one of these situations, and so it is, I think, a high priority with all of us. Our role is a little different. Right. We deal with the aftermath. We try to focus on how we would provide victim services in the immediate aftermath of that. Now, I have a criminal investigator who did respond to the mall that day. I had members of the drug task force who certainly would respond in a circumstance like that. But we try to focus on the planning for assisting law enforcement, assuming that there is someone taken alive, assuming that there would be a defendant in a case. How would we respond to make sure that we were prepared to help them collect, gather, maintain evidence, preparing a case for prosecution, but most importantly, how would we deal with victims? How would we deal with people who are not victims? Take, for example, the mall scenario. We would be very active in trying to calm parents who were unaffected if their children were there or loved ones were there. So our role is a little different. That being said, I think every DA's worst nightmare, and law enforcement's, frankly, is this type of scenario. It is unpredictable. It is not the kind of thing that while you can prepare for it, it's not the kind of thing that you are prepared for. You have to just respond and react, and I think every DA worries about it, and I think it's a point of very significant emphasis for all of us because of the cost to our community.
In a general respect, I want to ask all three of you, what did we learn from this? I mean, this is something that we've really not dealt with before. And I want to specifically talk about the role that communications and social media play. We know we had maybe a little glitch. It got out there was an active shooter, there wasn't an active shooter, you had media reporting it. Do you feel like that in reviewing all this, and I know you all have talked since that, do you think that's been solved? The role social media plays, is it important? Is it a bitter pill? It works and sometimes it doesn't work. And then just overall, what have you learned from this? And I'm just going to throw it open to whoever wants to jump in.
Since everybody's nodding at me, I guess I'll start. Well, I think I'm just going to say it. The war is here. That's the first thing we learned. That the things that we just assumed were a big city problem, the things that we assumed were things that only happened somewhere far away, are here. And we cannot ignore the fact that there are those who would take Islam and use it as a reason to commit an awful crime. We don't think about that in Cleveland, Tennessee. We're the home of the Church of God, of Lee University, of Southern Baptist churches, of Catholics, of Lutherans, of members of Islam, who all live in the same community and who have no problems. And suddenly, 25 miles down the road from us, we have a scenario like this. The thing that I hope everybody learned, and I know these guys already knew it because they've prepared for it. I mean, one of the interesting things that we were going to have a meeting, and I was out of town, and you guys may have met, but there was a meeting on just this scenario about a week before it happened between the city and the county. And I hope that the people in our community understand that everybody needs to be vigilant. Everybody needs to pay attention to what's going on around them. This is not just a Boston situation or a New York situation or a Washington situation. It's an everywhere situation. And I don't mean to scare people, and that's but by the same token, we have to be realistic. This is where we are today, and that the war is here. That's what I learned from it.
Chief?
Well, one of the things you see you guys train, you see them in action, you see them in high stress situations, but I was, it just really opened my eyes of how much this job means to them, how much they're willing to risk, because like I said, There was no hesitation. You see these guys perform, and that was one of the things that I kept focusing on while I was there on the scene, was just watching these guys without thought to the risk of themselves, how they respond. And that goes for all our law enforcement, the sheriff's department, and police department. So our community is very fortunate in that we do have these officers that are here seriously to do their job. One of the things that also that I took away from this is we had a benefit of having a real live scenario without the tragedy.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for us, because we got to see how we would react. We got to see what things that we would do, and how we would do them. And then we can go back and sit down and go, wipe our brow and say, we got lucky. But we sit down and are able to look at our response, look at things that we can do better, things that that we would have done different, and really have that advantage. Chattanooga, unfortunately, has the tragedy. They have the grieving process. They have officers they're going to have to get back on track. They have a community that is hurting. So they don't have that advantage right now. They will. They'll once the grieving process is over and they start getting some normalcy back in the community, then they can focus on looking at their response. With social media, we have Evie West. She does a great job with media and control of information that flows in and out. Social media is there. There's nothing we can do about it except respond to it. And one of the things, when we're in control of what we're doing, when we can decide what information to give out, when to give it out, how to give it out. When the information comes in from other entities, there's not much that we can do to control that other than just damage control, basically. And it's there. It's a reality. So we deal with it as best we can. We try to keep the community as informed as we can. Now, the information that we released during the process, things that we put on our Facebook page, things that we were relaying to media source outlets, these were things that we had just found out.
Right.
And when we're there, we're standing there, we pull in the parking lot, we're expecting to be engaged by an active shooter or engage an active shooter, and people are going about their normal business like nothing happened. So then we're looking there trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to figure out what happened, what's going on, what do we do next, those types of things. So we're getting that information just as quick as we're getting it out. The sheriff's department and the district attorney's office, they communicated well with us. Calvin Rockhold with the DA's office is standing right there with me. Our PIO is standing right there with us. Sheriff Watson is calling me about what information we have, so he can release to his people, his group of people that are contacting him, accurate, complete information as we know it. And we got to be careful of what we release. We'd rather not say anything if we don't know for sure. And that's important to us. And it's an ongoing thing. It's something we also train for. We train for media, dealing with the media, how to deal with them, how to release information, information should we release. We learn from our past mistakes when we release something too early or not, soon enough. Yeah. But at that time, not only did we have local people showing up to the scene because they're worried about loved ones, and then all the media outlets calling us. We had EOC activated, so there was phone calls coming from there. We had officers calling back and forth, communicating with each other. But we also had national news contacting us. We had Fox News, CNN, all these big news agencies nationwide contacting us, planning to come to Cleveland. And once we established we didn't have an event taking place here, we were quick to tell them, hey, you're wasting your time, don't come here, you need to go to Chattanooga. And but all those things were coming in, and just in a 30-minute time period, you're having all that information just flowing in, and you're trying to get the situation settled, decide what you actually have, and get that information out there. So, but we know this threat's real. We've always known it's real, People are unpredictable. It doesn't matter what community they come from or what ethnic background they have. People are unpredictable, and you've got to prepare for that.
Sheriff, lessons learned.
Hey, social media, for one, one thing I've learned, there's a lot of liars on there, a lot of conspiracies, theories, and, but it's a good thing. It can be a good thing. And I just encouraged people, don't read everything that you see on Facebook. If it comes from a government agency, 99.9% you can believe what it says, because they're going to be pretty accurate. And just like Mark said, I think it was 2 hours after the event before we even released anything, because you got to make sure. We want to make sure. I remember driving around the mall that day, and there's parents actually running to the movie theater because they dropped their kid off there hour and a half, just scared to death. And it can be a dangerous situation, especially when you got parents running in. Hey, let me follow up on what General Crump said. He said the war's here. Totally agree. What makes Bradley County unique, so to speak, as far as more of a target is because you have chemical plants here, and we are the Bible Belt. That's, for one, chemical plants. That's a terrorist threat. That's terrorists would love to hit this area, especially certain businesses here that's in our county. Second thing is the Bible Belt. These anti-believers, that what we believe here in Tennessee, the belief system that we believe in, those terrorist beliefs, they hate the Bible Belt. They hate Bradley County because we do have those major headquarters here in Bradley County. The third thing is we are, in my opinion, the heart of America, because we are that spiritual community that's always been to other parts in the nation, because we've always kind of been that lighthouse of religion, of the spiritual belief for the other remaining of the nation. And when it comes to these terrorists, they hate this part of Tennessee, this part of the nation, because of those things, in my opinion. That's the reason we have to work very closely with these businesses as well as their security teams, because they do have security. A lot of them does now, especially the chemical plants. You got the nuclear plants just within miles of us. That's another very terrorist threat, because they know if they take the nuclear plants down, that would severely damage our whole region for weeks when it comes to power and electricity and so forth. It's here. It's not nothing to laugh about. It's not nothing to take lightly. And we got to have the community support and their blessing on fighting this deadly terrorist issue.
Let's go with that. I know this is one of your things about dealing with the community, being involved in the community. And Sheriff, I'll just start with you. Of course, over the last year, we've seen Ferguson and Baltimore. How does your department try to get that positive image with the people that you deal with every day on the streets, to get that get the neighbors out there to support you and understand what you do?
It's simple. It's one word: transparency. Be honest, be upfront, and tell the truth. And when the media sticks a microphone in your face, don't hide, and don't hide in the corner, and don't tell them, and don't wait for hours like's happened in these other cities, and don't tell them nothing. Because when you, as law enforcement, hide in the shadows and won't tell them anything, people starts coming up with their own endings and statements. This is what happened. This is what happened. And it's our responsibility as leaders to say, hey, this is what happened. You can't tell everything part of the investigation, but you better say something, because if as a sheriff or law enforcement leaders, if you don't say it, someone else is going to say it for you, and they're going to lie about it. And that's something that I've learned. Just be transparent, be open, get it out there on social media before the negative people, the people that wants the wrong message out for you.
We weren't going to take phone calls, but I think we got to take this one. Mayor Rowland, are you on the phone?
Yes. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, General. Good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Captain. Good morning, Mark. Two Marks.
Good morning.
Morning.
Right.
Tell Sandra I said hello, Tom.
Yeah. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Neil. Let me just say to all of you guys, this is a great program this morning, and I want the public to know how well all of our law enforcement agencies work together. This was a great experience. So thankful to God it wasn't a real shooter, but it was a great exercise the way it was. Sheriff's Department, General Crump's office, Police Department, Highway Patrol, EMS, fire departments, the Drug Task Force, everybody responding and everybody not running around sort of wild-like, but well organized. And that makes me so proud of our community. Serving on the Governor's Homeland Security Council, I can tell you the threat to our community and other communities in the state is real. And we've got to take these things seriously. And I agree with the sheriff that you just can't overreact in something like this. It's better to overdo it and be sure you're right than not respond at all. But our people, our citizens, the folks at the Bradley Square Mall, what corporation it was, and I want to say to these guys, when I went to the Army recruiting station when they reopened on Tuesday morning, I'm sorry, I went to the Marine recruiting station first, they were so thankful that you were there. And I told them, and then the next day, meeting the commanding officer, Colonel Farello from Atlanta, for the Army recruiting station, I said, we're not here to impose on you, but we're here to work with you as long as you need us. And they were so thankful that our guys were outside the recruiting station as a deterrent. And it just makes me proud of our community and our agencies that are first responders.
Mayor, we really thank you for calling in. This really is an honor to be able to do this interview today. I don't think this has ever happened in Bradley County to have.
Either. I commend Mark in the morning for doing this. I really hate to say it. Sometimes he comes up with a good idea.
I'm punching his button. Get off my phone.
Sorry, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Rowland. Chief, I'm going to have to put you after the mayor. So,
Oh, that's fine.
Tell me about community involvement and what CPD is doing out there to try to fertilize the ground for positive involvement with the community and hopefully avoid a Ferguson or a Baltimore in the future.
Well, there's a couple of things. First, I forgot to mention
Sure.
Tennessee Highway Patrol. There was a couple of key things that happened that I thought was important. We had Tennessee Highway Patrol, the Sheriff's Department, all these other agencies that were there. But one of the most important things they did was they pulled up and said, "What do you need us to do?" And I said, "Well, we tried to plan some things," and they said, "Well, we're here for you. Tell us what you need us to do." And that's important. That's a very important outlook and attitude to have in these types of responses. But going back to the community, Stacia Shahan with the mall, their security team and their maintenance team were very supportive in this effort. We had to shut down a business. We had to evacuate people. We had to keep people from coming in. And that's a very disruptive thing. And sometimes that's not perceived real well. But our community stepped forward. They understood. They did what we asked them to, and they're very cooperative, and we appreciate that because that takes a lot from our community because we are disrupting their day, their work day, but they understand the seriousness of it, and we're fortunate to have a community that supports law enforcement like they do. So the other part of that is we do use social media, regardless of we don't necessarily it's not our preferred choice, but we do use social media to correspond and get the word out there what things we're going to do in the community. We're starting to implement programs like the RAD program that we've really it's been pretty active here the last couple of months where. We teach self-defense to females and also children. It's a program that we're really proud of. Jennifer Samples does a real good job with that, and just the relationship with the people like Officer West, who's very active in the community, not just in a law enforcement function, but just very active in a lot of events. So. We try to take part in events in the community to have representatives from law enforcement present. All those things open up that door of communication. Our office is always open if someone wants to come in and talk to us about a problem. We need to respond to that. We need to be open to that and always available to answer questions or concerns. One of the things after this event is we tried to go and make personal contact, not through social media, but personal contact with surrounding businesses to kind of let them know exactly what we know at this point,
Right.
and inform them what's going on. And I think they appreciated that, because they're face to face with someone from law enforcement telling them directly what's happening, and they're not reading it on a post from Facebook. And those things are important and accurate. Just like the sheriff said, transparency. We need to be accurate, complete, and quick with information most of the time. And there's sometimes that we're going to have to be guarded on
Sure.
what we release, but we have no secrets. We have nothing to hide. We need to get it out there. We need to let our community know what's going on, because they are part of the process. They're important to law enforcement functions. Their cooperation, their information is important.
General, let me ask you about cooperation and working together. I get the sense that the three of you and your three departments operate very much as a team. Would I be incorrect in saying that?
Well, I think in some ways yes, in some ways no, because of the unique role that the DA's office plays.
Right.
We are charged with being not only a partner with law enforcement, but also being a shield between law enforcement and the people. Our constitutional responsibility is to pursue guilt, but also protect innocence. And so, for the most part, we are constantly working with these guys, and because of the really good work that they do, we don't have a whole lot of pursuing or protecting innocence with their cases. I think you talked about Ferguson, and I had the pleasure of going to a best practices conference. I represent the state of Tennessee on our best practices committee for the DA's office, and we went to Washington Department of Justice for a best practices meeting, and we had the prosecutor from St. Louis, who is the adjoining jurisdiction to Ferguson, and they had an officer-involved shooting literally days after Ferguson, but you never heard about it. And the difference was that there were three differences. Number one, in that community, there were relationships built with all segments of the community. There was not a segment of the community that felt like they were left out of the conversation. Number two, you had an open relationship with media in that there was not this attempt to hide. Now, there, as the chief said, there are plenty of times we can't say anything. But then lastly, going to something the sheriff said and the chief about transparency, there was open transparency. In this area, for example, if we had, God forbid, an officer-involved shooting that was like Ferguson, just internally, the way that things work in our district would not lead to the kinds of problems. TBI comes in and works every officer-involved shooting. TBI worked the one earlier this week. It worked one with the city 7 or 8 months ago. And that's been the practice here forever. That is not the practice in lots of places. But here we have an independent agency that comes in and looks at it. Something that I've done is that every officer-involved shooting is presented to the grand jury. Not because I'm looking for somebody to be indicted. In fact, the exact opposite. What people are going to find when these cases, what our grand jurors are going to find, and what I want them to be able to go out of that grand jury session once they're done and say is, law enforcement does the right thing. If they pull the trigger, it's because they had to. Now, obviously, if there is one where, like North Charleston, and again, God forbid that there's a scenario like that, that system would work the same way.
Right.
And not only would it serve to protect the officers and enhance their credibility, it would also protect the public in that where there was a tragedy that involved lawlessness, the system would work to correct that as well. And I law enforcement, that makes them nervous, and I get that. If somebody were going to say, I'm going to present what you do to the grand jury, that would make me nervous, even though I'd have to sign the indictment. But just the same, that is, I try to stress to these guys, I'm never going to do anything to expose you needlessly. I'm never going to do anything that is going to create hardship for your department. But I am going to make sure that when we say they did the right thing, we have the credibility with the community where they believe that they did the right thing. That was the problem in Ferguson, is the community didn't believe their elected prosecutor. And if we, again, God forbid, had this kind of scenario, our response as a DA's office would be far different than what you saw out there. And we've learned those lessons.
Sheriff, let me ask you about working with the CPD. There is this natural force of nature about city and county governments or city and county departments. But you guys seem to really have a synchronicity going on. Am I reading that wrong?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Since September 1st, I can't say how much I've been blessed by the working relationship with the city of Cleveland. And I know that's hard to believe for a county official to say that, especially if you listen to some county commissioners. But hey, the public works department, I mean, the road department's been awesome to the Bradley County Sheriff's Office. Cleveland Police Department's been awesome. Janice Castile's been awesome. City council members. I have lunch with them pretty often. And great working relationship. And, I mean, and that sums it up, Brian. I mean, it's short, sweet, and simple. I have no gripe at all because they're just a phone call away. And they know it's just a phone call away with me as well.
Mark, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've enjoyed having a good working relationship. It's, you know, you have governments, you have entities in government that clash, but as far as the individuals, the individual officers, the individual department heads, the individual leaders of the respective departments, we work well together. We plan and organize because it's important to us to go out and do our job effectively. And I've found that you can't do that unless you have everybody on board and understanding what your role is and what your agendas are. And we make a open practice communicate what our expectations are. If there's something that Sheriff Watson is doing that we don't agree with, or something that I'm doing that he doesn't agree with, we want to be able to sit down and talk about it and not go our separate ways and be bitter about it. We want to be able to sit face to face and air out our differences and talk about it and move on. But the relationship has been good. We're continuing to work on that just to keep it strong, and I think it's very positive for the community.
Chief, I'm going to ask you one specific question. I'm going to throw you a jump ball before we let Grissom back in the room. Chief, of course, the CPD has had sort of a rocky road the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last 6 or 7 months since you've been sitting in the chair trying to take over, or not take over, but filling in, where is the CPD now in morale and getting on the straight and narrow road? And I think they proved themselves magnificently the other day at the mall, and I think that's a pretty general conception. But internally, what's the force feeling? What are they looking at?
Well, internally, here's the bottom line: we have a great department. We have great individuals. We have some of the best officers in the state and probably in the country. I think we have some really good individuals. We had some people made mistakes in the department. We're going to have people that will make mistakes in the department. But what's different about this situation is the whole department got beat up over mistakes of a few. And that's the unfortunate part of it. We had the luxury, some of us had the luxury of scurrying up the back stairs and hiding upstairs. But the men on the boots on the ground, these guys that go out, these men and women that go out of our department every day have to face the public. They have to hear about this, but their morale is improved. They're getting a lot more positive feedback from the community now, and they're back on task. And it didn't take them long to get back on task. They pretty much stayed on task. But the only difference was that these guys, the men and women that were actually the officers on the ground that come in to do their job every day and come into work every day, were getting criticized and scrutinized for the actions of others. and we had some people that didn't take responsibility for their actions, and we've dealt with that, and we're trying to move forward. And I think the morale is good, and I think these guys are feeling better because they're not getting beat up every day in the media. So I think that's the difference, and they're going to stay on task. They're going to be professional. They're going to do their job no matter what. It's just when they're constantly getting bombarded with the negative publicity, it does hurt them, and they're human. They're just like anybody else out there. If goes to work every day, they just want to go do their job, take care of their families afterwards, and that's where we're at right now. And I think it's a very positive turn.
We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to give each of you about 30 seconds. Just summarize the conversation. 30 seconds to tell the public what you really want to get them to know and understand. General?
Once again, I get to go first.
Well, we're going to let Eric go last because we don't know how long that
Well, I was
takes.
going to say 30 seconds. I'm not sure. The public needs to understand that we are trying to work as a team, that we, while we may have different responsibilities at different times, I am very, very blessed to have the kind of cooperation between law enforcement in this county that I have. I have a great sheriff, and Mark Gibson has done a phenomenal job in keeping that department together during some very rough times. His leadership there has been exceptional, and I go to other places in the state and I talk to other DAs and I hear how awful their relationships are. I talk to these guys every week. There's not a week that goes by that I don't talk with them about things, and I want the public to understand they have two fine men that are leading their law enforcement agencies here who are mature. I've seen them work through problems. I've seen them work through issues. I've seen them disagree and come to a mutually satisfactory result. We are very fortunate with the law enforcement we have. And while perhaps there has been more media play for some of the missteps on a personal level that some people have had, that is an incredibly insignificant percentage of the valiant heroes that go out every day with their badge on and their gun on to protect me and you. And anybody that would make fun of them, or anybody that would be critical of them, or try to lay off the moral failures of a few on all of them, is not entitled, well, probably doesn't deserve the level of protection that they get from these people. It's a remarkable group of individuals.
Chief?
It's just I want everyone to know that the Sheriff Watson and General Crump, we work well together. We're there for the community. We care about our community. We do this job because we want to catch bad guys. We want to keep everyone safe, and that's our priority. Just like the response on July 16th was about preservation of life and security of our community, and that that's our goal. That's our continued goal, and I'm proud of our officers. I'm proud of the Sheriff's Department's officers. I'm proud of the District Attorney's office, and I think we're on the right track.
Sheriff, you got the last word.
Brian, first of all, I'm going to take the first 10 seconds I got out of the 30 and thank the Cleveland Daily Banner. and thank Mark, Wolf Radio, and this is a positive story for me today. It's nothing negative been said by Mark Gibson, or Mark Grissom so far, and it's been all positive. And we'll say thank you, Mark. Thank you. Mark Gibson said it right. Chief Gibson, great relationship. Thank you for what you do for the Cleveland Police Department. You represent them well. You represent them with a moral value that we need in law enforcement these days. A trust factor, integrity. That's you, Mark Gibson. I want to say thank you. Steve Crump, same thing. Integrity, honesty. He does what's right for the people. And I want to say, General Crump, thank you. I'm voting for you again next election. I promise you.
I appreciate that.
And I mean that. I appreciate both of you. Brian, we have a great working relationship, great team. And integrity is very important to the community when it comes to law enforcement. people will come up to me every now and then. They say, "Boy, it's bad on law enforcement these days." And I look at them and I say, "No, it's not. Not in Bradley County, because it's not. The majority of the people, they support and they love our law enforcement officers. We have people all the time, same way as Cleveland Police Department, will send up from restaurants free vouchers for food. They'll bring fruit baskets, donuts. They'll bring biscuits, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and give it to our officers. We have a loving community that loves our law enforcement officers, and I want to say thanks to the community. And we're going to continue to do our monthly 3-month meetings in the community. And if you ever have a problem, you call Mark Gibson, you call Eric Watson, call General Crump. That's what we're here for, to answer any concerns you've got. And I just want to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of this today.
Gentlemen, you've honored me for fulfilling this request. I think it's been great. I think it's a conversation the public needed to hear. And I don't think it's a biased thing for me to say we appreciate what you and your teams do to protect us every day, 24/7. And I just can't thank each of you individually enough. I've called you by your titles all morning. I know y'all by first names, but thank you for doing this. And just one more question. Is there a statute against bald-headed men pretending to be radio hosts?
I want to thank Brian Graves for your last visit here to Whoop Radio. Guys, if you'll just hang on 1 second, we got someone calling in. As a favor to me, I guess. First of all, I want to say to General Crump, thank you very, very much. I have the utmost respect for you and everything that you're doing. And if you ever see my name come across in an indictment, please throw it away.
If
Sheriff Watson, you know how I feel about you. I shared that with you the other day at the funeral home, one-on-one, and I respect you. And to the mayor and the members of the city council, please have a meeting this afternoon and vote unanimous to get Mark Gibson in, and let's get on with the business of Cleveland and Bradley County. And well, you're great, Mark. Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate you having me.
A very good friend of mine and a friend to all of you, and a way that I wanted to wrap this show up today. I'm honored and proud, and we're all privileged to live in a community where we're not afraid to stand up and say we believe in God and we have faith, and we have prayer, and our faith is very, very strong. And I've asked Pastor Gary Sears to call in this morning, and as we end the show, to offer prayer for safety for the men and women of law enforcement, safety for our community, and all of the government leaders and officials. Pastor Sears, thanks for calling in.
Well, thank you, Mark, for the opportunity and to listen to three of the finest men that Cleveland Bradley County has to offer. For General Crump, Sheriff Watson, and Chief Gibson, these are men that have this community at heart and have the capability of leading us in the right direction. I'm thrilled to hear what they've had to say. We live in the Bible Belt. We think that things don't happen here like they do in big cities like New York, but we found that different just recently. And not only did we lose 5 good men who serve this community, but we lost a feeling of trust and safety that has been restored today by these 3 men and what they've had to say. And I just want to offer a prayer up of thanks for them and for all that God is doing for our community. Lord, we're grateful today, grateful that we have 3 men who honor you, who love you and serve you, whose Christian beliefs and values walk out every day in their life. Lord, for what they have demonstrated in their areas of service, we give you thanks today. And Lord, there is a greater feeling of relaxation and realization of safety that we have men like this that are on the scene and who are leading men and women in our community to do their job and do it with the best of ability. We thank you for your peace and presence that we have today. And Lord, we thank you for the promise that we will continue to be a great city, a great county, because we have great leadership. We pray it in Christ's name. Amen and amen.
Thank you, Pastor Sears.
Thank you.
28 minutes after the hour, not a better way to end this show than Steve Crump and the Schmucks right here, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure. Guys, thank every one of you. Brian, thank you. Have a good weekend. Cleveland, God bless you. God bless Cleveland, Tennessee, and God bless America.
Yes, he is. He's good all the time. God is good. You know he is. He's good all the time. You can search the whole world over. No greater friend you'll find. He's not good just once in a while. He's good all the time. God is good. Yes, he is. He's good all the time. God is good. You know he is. He's good all the time. You can search the whole world over. No greater friend you'll find. He's not good just once in a while. He's good all the time. Well, we've all had friends who've let us down. You know what I'm talking about. Is at the very first sign of trouble, they're nowhere to be found. Well, Jesus stays when others go. He'll never leave your side. He's your friend in stormy weather, 'cause he's good all the time. God is good. Yes, he is. He's good all the time. God is good. You know he is. He's good all the time. You can search the whole world over. No greater friend you'll find. He's not good just once in a while. He's good all the time. Well, he's the one you call in the middle of the night when your body moans with pain. Don't worry about that wayward child, 'cause he's heard you call his name. He'll put food in your kitchen when you don't have a dime. He's not good just now and then. He's good all the time. God is good. Yes, he is. He's good all the time. God is good. You know he is. He's good all the time. You can search the whole world over. No greater friend you'll find.
Whoop FM is a non-profit community radio station that is made possible by generous donations by individuals and the following sponsors.
Yeah, you looking for something sweet? I know you are. Bring your little sweet self to the Village Bake Shop. Around since 1961, there ain't a baked good in the galaxy the Village Bake Shop can't whip up for you. So when you're ready to treat your mouth to a taste you won't soon forget, get over to the Village Bake Shop in the Village Green Town Center. Or give them a call at 476-5179. You dig?
No dealers allowed.
Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933, offering the best with over 70 styles of recliners, sofas, electronic lift chairs, full living room packages. Call Mike now at 961-7239 because Jackson Catnapper now offers sales to the public
Every Saturday. That's right, every Saturday.
from 8 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Or call Mike at 961-7239 or go see him
Every Saturday.
at 1911 King Edward Avenue, just across from the main plant. Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933. 961-7239.
No dealers allowed.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you